I love this part of it. I love sharing and helping others. And when more people win, everybody wins, right? So
all right, welcome everyone, and thanks for coming. We are so excited to have you here with the community at eXp Realty, and we have a very exciting session today because we brought a number of leaders from one of the top teams in the country, the top team in the state of Oregon, and these guys are selling north of 500 homes a year, doing incredible stuff, and leading the way with advancing technologies like artificial intelligence and some other really high level tracking technologies so that they can really dig into what actually works, right? How many people feel like they're just winging it every day, right? I'm just getting started. Today is a brand new day, but every day is a brand new day. That's not very good. That means you're starting over every day. And what's nice about what I see Jake doing and all of these amazing leaders on this team is they've built systems and processes that mean every day is building on the day before it so that you're only getting better and you're gaining process over perfection, which is an incredible thing. So first off, let me bring up on stage here our incredible host for today, Jake Rockwell. And Jake, hold on, where's your spotlight? There we go. And Jake, I know you brought some folks along with you. I'll let you introduce who's on the team here.
sounds good. Thanks, Jeff. How are you doing, everybody? Yeah, we brought our management team into the room. We've got JJ Velador, who's our general manager of the team, our director of administration, Renee Darpino, now, and then Jason Giles, who is not only our team leader down here in the Arizona region, but also has jumped into the role of database management and training for our agents and so forth. So thankful to have them on the team and to be here with me.
So I know one of the things that we're talking about today is kind of this idea of how to get ready for 2026, how to wrap up the year strong. I know you guys are doing some things kind of EOI, end of year for 25, quarter four. What's that feel like? And then I know you wanted to jump into some high level systems that you're all using that are driving the number of homes that agents are selling. Like, at the end of the day, it's not just about systematizing so that you feel organized. It's about systematizing so that you can increase your load, increase the threshold, and increase margins on your business. So where do you want to jump in with all this? Because I'm wide open. I'm just excited to learn from you guys today.
Yeah, I think it's all important stuff. I think the biggest thing that you have to do first, and so I think the thing that we should focus on first is the tracking, because you really can't do a whole lot unless you have information, right? And so something that I failed to do early years in this business and in previous businesses was to track things, because when you have good quality information, you can properly plan and make good decisions. And so that's, something that we are very big on in tracking, and that way we see what our future would look like, what we need to do to get to our future, and so forth. So maybe JJ wants to touch on some of that with what we do and in the way we track what we use.
I love that. And we just launched a live poll for anybody who's on here. Check your screen. We're curious if you're currently tracking, and we've got yes, no, or no, but I want to, which is my favorite response. And it looks like we're leading the way with about 70% of folks are doing it. The other 30% are definitely in the I want to. Nobody taking the easy way out on just the no button.
Yeah, absolutely. So we use a couple of different systems to track different variables, right? The biggest one right now, I'm sure Jake will jump into a new technology with AI that we're using, is tracking our conversations and the quality of those conversations, moving them from, very, very open, leaving it to the client on appointments, or I'm going to get back to you, but not really discussing next steps and having that quality conversation of this is what's going to happen next, whether it's an appointment or I'm getting back to you on a specific day, or you're discussing a home inspection and the results of that home inspection. Are you leaving the client really just in the air, not knowing what to expect next? Other things that we're tracking, of course, is going to be our conversion rates. Jake dove into the numbers a couple of weeks ago and looked at industry standards. 100 conversations. The percentage of that was 5%. We're going to turn into, Jason, can you recall the numbers? Out of 100 conversations, you were going to get 5% converting into an actual appointment.
Mhm.
And then once you meet on that appointment, how many were going to turn into a signed client?
So 100 turns into 5, and then out of 5 you have 3, and out of the 3 you're going to capture 1, possibly 2.
So
it's
what
like
are
a
we
1.5.
using? Who all on this call is using Sisu, which is now provided by, well, if you're with eXp, it's provided by eXp, but it's not owned by eXp. It's anybody using Sisu that can help track some of your metrics, or a CRM that does the same thing? Anybody? Justin does.
I see people raising hands and nodding for sure.
So, Jason, why don't you share what are the 3 or 4 systems and technologies that we use to track? Obviously, a lot of them communicate with each other and flow into each other, but what systems do we exactly use to track all of our stuff?
So you just mentioned Sisu, which is huge, but really, if you don't go in there and put your goals in there, it's not going to be able to help you track where you're at. Right? You've got to put your goals in there, and you can look at it daily, weekly, monthly, and it's going to tell you if you're on track. It's going to tell you if you're on track with your calls, with your contacts. Go ahead, Jake.
But what technologies are we using?
Okay.
So, like, we have 4 things that we're using to track everything. One is our CRM.
So we have
follow-up boss.
Yep.
We have Sisu.
Yep.
We now have Shiloh.
Yep. Batter.
Yep. And we just started with Batter.
So, and a couple of those are new. Some of them are AI driven, but Follow Up Boss flows right into Sisu. And really, I think the thing to remember, anybody that's in business, and I was just having this conversation with my son in golf, because it's the same everywhere. And it's, we have these goals and we're focusing on the results, but what we really should be focusing on are the little things that get us to those results. And so in our team, and every agent should be focusing on, is how many conversations, how many real estate related conversations are we having on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis? And when we track stuff, we know exactly how many conversations gets us to a closing, right? And I just looked, and this year to date, it's 35 conversations to a closing is where we're at, which is pretty good compared to what industry is. Industry is around 50 or 60. But so, and then we're looking at, okay, if we're having those conversations, how many appointments are we going on? So obviously, the only reason we can't get to an appointment without talking to somebody, correct? And we cannot sign a listing or sign a buyer rep agreement without meeting with somebody, for the most part, right? So why not focus on those conversations and those appointments, those lead measures that get to the results, and just focus on those on a daily, weekly basis? And so when we do that and we set up our goals, and we'll look at some, I'll pull up my screen here in a second, but all of those softwares lead into us being able to really determine where is each agent at, where's the team at, what do we need to change to where we want to go, or to get us to where we want to go, right? And so I think Joe Yates, I don't know if Joe's in here, but it's there's 2 things that he puts it best. It's either we're either not doing the work or we suck at doing the work, right? So if we're making all those calls and having those conversations, but we don't get the appointments, then what has to happen?
We have to increase our skill set on the phone, our dialogues with those prospects, correct?
And what's our newest software that is helping us, or AI that's helping us improve that so that we can do more in less time?
Shiloh. Yep.
So Shiloh, as he was explaining, is an incredible tool. It took me about 15 minutes to sign up and pay the amount of money they wanted to use this tool. And we just launched it a couple of weeks ago. And it does. Jason, explain exactly what Shiloh does.
Okay, Shiloh is phenomenal. So Shiloh, when you're making the call, it's gonna listen. The AI is gonna listen. It's gonna look for keywords. Are we asking for the appointment? Are we setting the next step? Are we using a lot of filler words? It's gonna track that whole call. And when you're done with that call and you hang up, it's gonna give you a rating from 1 to 5. And they say a 3 or better is phenomenal. You've hit all the benchmarks. And what it's going to do is it's now going to give you the transcript. It's going to tell you what you did great. It's going to show you in the transcript where you could have done better. And it's going to give you the advice on how you can handle that conversation the next time. So you can look at each conversation, you can track it. And then for the next conversation that you have, you could take that advice. And the next thing you know, your rating's going up. This system's really big on asking for the appointment and setting the next step. This also has, you can go back to that conversation and do a role play with it to see if you can up your score and have a better conversation. I said this to one of our teammates the other day, because this thing has been phenomenal the 2 weeks we've had it. I feel like this AI is teaching us how to be human again. Just have conversations with your clients. So this AI has been game changer for us just the 2 weeks we've had it.
So I'm sharing on my screen the software, and basically it obviously gives us insights overall. We're at a 2.4 call rating, and that basically is telling and healthy is 3. So the exciting part about that is we have room to grow and we have room to get better. And when we get that to a 3, what's happening? We're getting more face to face. What's the rate of doing business with somebody when we get face to face?
I think it goes to 80%.
80%.
What is it? 80%. And in fact, when you look at our stats in CSU, we're showing 90%. When we get face to face with someone, 90% of the time, we're getting a signed buyer rep agreement or listing agreement. So in this platform, you're being measured on multiple factors. Are you being personable? Are you building rapport? Are you reframing and handling objections? I mean, it tells us everything. So this is just one tool. Again, it's newer, very difficult to get a 5-star rating. In the 2,100 calls that we have tracked in here, these are the only 5-star calls that we've had. And so it's very difficult to get that point. But what's great for the training part of it is you can, when someone makes a call, and I don't have any ownership in this company. I'm just sharing what we use. And an agent can use this as an individual agent. All of these tools are not just for teams. That's why we're sharing them. Okay. So when you get into a specific call, I can look at the summary. I can look at the outcomes. This one wouldn't be a good example because it's a wrong number, but let me see. Let's go to this one. So here's one. It gives us a summary. Appointment was set. Next step was created. It was a 3-star rating. And here's the transcript. But here's the agent coaching. I can go in here. It gives us our top moments, but then it gives us top possible improvements. Streamline communication for efficiency. Anchor confidence in next steps. Reframe client concerns as opportunities. And so you can, and it'll give you exact things you can do. But here's the beauty is, training wise, a lot of people don't like to do role playing in a group environment because it's somewhat uncomfortable sometimes. All we have to do with Shiloh is I can literally hit this role play button and it'll go ring, ring, and I'll role play this same scenario, this same call with an AI in an attempt to try to improve that call rating from 3 to 4. So now I can practice on getting better at whatever it's suggesting from me. And so now when we're making calls and we improve the conversation, what are we doing? What are we accomplishing, JJ?
We're accomplishing efficiency, right? Is that what you're looking for on that?
Yeah, I mean,
I would say we're becoming more efficient and we're
getting more appointments.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting more face-to-face, more 80% chances of winning, right? And part of that is just asking for the appointments. And it's amazing. Look at the stat, 231 asked appointments out of 2,100. What is that?
It's just over 10%.
10%. If we just asked 2 people out of 10 versus 1 out of 10, what happens to our sales?
Double.
It doubles. folks, because everything else stays standard. We're getting face to face with twice as many people. And so, and we wouldn't know this stuff if we weren't tracking, right? If we didn't know our numbers. So it's extremely important to know your numbers as an individual agent, as a team, as a brokerage, doesn't matter. So that's Shiloh.
Jake, one of the things that occurs to me with a platform like this is that you take out something that historically I think has been a stumbling point. And as leaders, I'm sure you guys will agree that many times when you're coaching or mentoring somebody who's newer to either speaking on the phone or speaking in these kind of engaged sales settings, sometimes there's friction with that person because now they feel judged because another person's watching them or listening to them. But I feel like if a technology is doing this, it maybe takes away that sense of being judged a little bit or like reduces it. How are you guys seeing that play out?
That's exactly right. I believe it. Unfortunately, all transparency, I look into the role playing, how many role playing calls are in there, and it amazes me there's not enough. And I'm a huge believer of getting better every day, every week, and trying to improve. And that's one way to do it. And it's like, okay, would I rather make 100 calls and have 5% success or make 100 calls and have 10% success?
Yeah,
and
it reminds me of,
income.
I used to hear people say it's like practicing on stage at Carnegie Hall. Like you need to practice before you get to the big event. You don't want to show up at the Super Bowl halftime or whatever your example is, but you don't want to just like do your practice in front of an audience. And I love that you can do this levering the platform. Do you believe that over time you're going to continue to see this kind of longitudinal result or like upswing or J curve or whatever you want to call it?
100%. And there's other top teams in the country using the tool and so forth. And yeah, I think that the goal is really it's the face to faces, right? So we can't get face to face unless we have a conversation. And so what we're looking for, obviously, we haven't even been a month in this, but month 2, month 3, are we doubling, tripling the amount of appointments we have, and which means our production goes up, and so it's there's obviously every agent, has goals on where they want to go, how many transactions, the volume or whatever, but we've got to start with, what does that look like? So whenever we onboard a new agent, that's one of the first things we do. And I'll let Jason kind of walk through it or JJ, and I'll share my screen when it comes to goal setting, because this really is. And so, well, let me back up for a second. So right now we're in go time. These 90 days are the weakest in the industry for weak agents. Most agents are taking that time off, and this is an incredible time for top performers or people that are highly motivated to capture market share. And if we sit back and wait and just hang out for the holidays, what's our January, February, March look like?
Booyah.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, and so this is the time to be doing it, whether we're looking at production, recruiting, or whatever it is. And so it's like we're going all in. I mean, we're doing some big contests on a weekly basis. And again, it's to help the agents elevate themselves, hold them accountable so that they can progress and grow.
Yeah. And so, Jeff, also to answer your question on the agents feeling less so like a human management over them versus the system management over them. The cool thing that Shiloh has implemented with leaderboards, it's gamified the system. So
Nice.
that week, especially when we first introduced it to the company, we had agents in here saying they were getting off the phone and they were like, man, that had to be a 5-star call. Like I hit so they were more consciously aware of what they were saying or doing on the phone versus just going through the mundane of, I got to make another phone call. I got to make another phone call. And then when they pair each other up, I always like to pin people against each other in a positive way that they're close, right? I think I got this from Gene Frederick, where he's like, who are you chasing? Who's like right there, right above you or right below you that you're either chasing or you're trying to create separation from? So sometimes when you have those people that are like one's at a 2.2, one's at a 2.3, they're going against each other trying to get the next 3-star or the next 4-star before their companion, right? So it's just been something where people are gamifying it and more excited about making the calls versus, man, I just got another call from Jason and he tells me I suck on the phone and we got to have a one-on-one. I think that one has been very important as well. And then just the mere fact that if someone wants to get better, it's the 80-20 rule. I think everybody should lean into this system, but only 20% are most likely going to lean into the system. And then you want to reward or invest in those people because they're wanting to invest in themselves. So you can see it at a highly calculated level versus just going off of your feelings. You actually see the data in front of you. And we all know that in this industry and most industries, really data is king, right? So when we go into goal setting, Jason, I'll segue into goal setting and knowing our numbers for a year. When we onboard an agent, it's super important to know, yes, number one, what's their income, but two, tying that income to a why. And if you guys all know the importance of why, right? Because if your why isn't big enough, we talk about that a lot in real estate. If your why is not big enough, then you're just gonna flounder out of real estate and decide that you're just gonna go back to 9 to 5 or whatever the case is. But if you have a big enough why, that'll push you through to your income goal. So that's a lot of what Jason sits down and discuss with people is what's their income goal, how are they going to achieve that income goal, and why is it important for them to achieve that income goal? Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, and I'll just piggyback real quick with that. Shiloh, I love the phones. I mean, I'll call all day. Sometimes I think I'm an ISA, but being on this and knowing that I'm being listened to on the other end, it's personally helped me convert conversations that I thought would have been otherwise, starting off with kind of a negative vibe. Why are you calling me? What's this about? And knowing that there was a system grading me and listening to the conversation, those end up turning into some appointments. And I truly believe knowing that AI was on the other end is what helped me get that appointment. So this has been phenomenal. Like it's just been a game changer. And when talking about goal setting, we can all share on this. When I first meet with an agent, that's the very first question I ask them before we get into goals and what you want to make, what you want to do. What is your why? And we don't spend 2 or 3 minutes. We probably spend 10, 20, 25 minutes on that why, because the majority of the why is typically my kids or my family, something that's great, right? But let's dig deep in that. Well, what do you mean your kids? What do you mean your family? What do you mean your wealth? Then we dig deep and deep and deep. And then I say to the agents, I'm very straightforward. I say, okay, we're going to go over your goals now. So every week that you don't hit that goal, is our why really big enough? Are we really chasing what that why is? And that's why I start off with every time. And it's great for training purposes and goal setting because we can revert back to that the following week and just say, okay, let's go over what your activities were. And if they hit that, then we know that they're on the right track with their why and where their mindset's at.
So let's jump into goals, and we have an annual goal setting meeting every year towards the end of the year where we get everybody together and because we can't as a team develop our goal without the agent's goals or in the team members' goals and what there's and it includes everybody, agents, administration, and so forth. So what you guys have probably all seen this or something similar. It's like a 5-3-1 type 1-3-5 business plan. We no reason to recreate the wheel. This is one thing that we use every year, and we've already begun sending this stuff out to our team to start thinking about it. Jason, do you want to kind of who's all seen this? Anybody seen this? Yeah, a lot of people. I think it came from maybe KW or something. But explain what this is, Jason.
So on your goal setting, I mean, obviously your annual goal. So what is it that you want to do annually? You start off at the top. I want to make 100 grand or 150 grand. Once you do that, then we can dive into the thing I love about real estate or any sales is it's all in your numbers, right? We can take your numbers and we can track that. Then you're gonna go into your 3 key focus areas. It's also, it says it right here for us, right? Your 3 key focus areas. What I see a lot when we're doing this, and even I have to adjust sometimes, is someone will pick a key focus area, and it's all 3 of them are kind of the same, right? They don't realize, okay, you got 3 key focus areas. What are those going to be? So, one of them, lead generating. Jump in here with me, JJ. We'll kind of do this together. So, lead generating is a focus area, but then we got to create the activity around that, right? And I really believe that your production is going to be based on the daily activity that you do. If you don't have your activities clearly laid out, then you're gonna have that roller coaster ride. So lead gen would be one. JJ, jump in on number two for me.
Yeah, and I'll just jump in real quick. You could even do more appointments or do X amount of appointments this year because we know how many appointments are going to get to the closings, right? So I'm going to I'm going to have 150 appointments this year. Then each focus area has 5 objectives. Like, what exactly are we going to do for those 5? What 5 things are we going to do to get those appointments? I'm going to do X this many times a week. I'm going to do X this many times a day or a month. I'm going to make this many calls, or I'm going to reach out to my sphere. It could be in multiple things, right?
Correct. Yep. So the focus area, just to back up a little bit, Jason, the focus area wouldn't be lead generating. The focus area would be 25 listings. I'm going to take 25 lists. I'm going to become the #1 listing agent in our office. I'm going to become the #1 listing agent in our team. And so then we could type in, Jake, do you have edit access on that document?
Yeah.
We can build this out together, guys. So you could say #1 listing agent in our office, 25 plus listings. And then we would put that down on the focus #1. We would rewrite that. And what are the 5 things that are going to help us becoming the #1 agent in our office, right? And so one objective would be lead generating 3 hours a day, very specific, not Manila, not I'm going to be like Jason and make 2 calls a day, but you got to make sure that
come on.
He's only made about 20,000 calls this year, guys. So, and then what else could we say that we're going to do? Very specific. Implement a home valuation. Yep. Some ideas, throw it in the
chat. That would be too general, right? Implementing it has to be very measurable. So I'm going to spend, or I'm going to post my home valuation tool, or I'm going to add to my database this many addresses, right? Because in our system, every time we add a physical address to a contact, it then gets auto nurtured for home valuations. And then people view those every single month. And every time someone views a home valuation, there's a good conversation there, a good opportunity for a conversation. And what do we want? What do we need to be able to get an appointment? We need conversations. Mm-hmm. So that could be another objective, right? Adding certain amount of addresses, or gathering 20 addresses of my sphere of influence every month, mm-hmm. right? Something like that. So very specific ones, and then that creates your plan. And this is something that would go up on your wall, and you're just focusing on this stuff.
And so what we also throw on here too, it is a business one, but what we really like to see as well, at least one focus area to be something that drives you. So a lot of people, it's, fitness or their health, or they're trying to do something in their personal life that they need to focus on that drives the rest of your business goals. So I always tell people, at least throw one personal goal in here to fuel your business as well. So, 3 focus areas you might put on there. Number 3, to gain 10 pounds of muscle, or to lose 5 pounds of body fat, or whatever the case is. You would put it in there with a very specific goal. And then you would do the same thing on your focus areas of what you're going to do daily to achieve those goals.
Can you just do 2 of these? One for personal and one for business?
Yeah. The thing that what we see is on a personal and business is if they have too many, they get lost in the rapture. So having just 3 key focus areas, 2 that are heavily weighted in business, and 1 on a very deep personal level, they will usually stick to that goal more so than if they have 10 goals out there and trying to hit all 10. So it's the quality of it versus the quantity. And ultimately, you guys, the #1 thing with that, what Jake has taught me, is that does not end up at the bottom of your folder of a stack of papers, or end up behind a couch somewhere crinkled up. That's got to be in front of you on a daily, weekly, and quarterly basis. And you have to revisit it and have accountability to that, because A goal without measurement and actually paying attention to it is just a dream, right? It's just aspirations, it's hope. But it's someone that actually wants to achieve those goals. If you track them on a daily basis, then it does become a new standard in your life to achieve those goals. So I would say you can write this, spend it 2, 4, 5, 10 hours, but if you're not going to pay attention to it, you might as well go do something else with those 10 hours in your life.
I love that. And, one of the things I'm hearing from everyone on the team, it's so obvious how everybody has this shared mindset and it creates a culture of success, is this focus on tracking, understanding not just what our goals are, but what the conversion dynamics are between each stage of the process. Because that goes back to your tracking. It wasn't just, I want to have 10 appointments. It's, I know that because of my own conversion metrics, I must have X number of conversations to get to those appointments. And I think that's incredible. And then also this idea about a focus on action. And this 135 is very action focused. It's not just like I have a goal and I have a dream and then I'm not going to do anything about it. It's I actually have a dream. That's great, but I'm going to do these specific behaviors. And to Jason's quote earlier, what was it you said? I wrote it down. Your production is going to be based on the daily activities you actually do.
Yeah, and with that goal, I mean, and if you have a team or a brokerage, you would do one of these on a company level. So for like a team, we might be in our goals are going to be different than an agent. It's not necessarily going to be the production. I mean, there might be production based, but what are we doing to pour into the agents to help them accomplish their goals? Because if they accomplish their goals, then the team accomplishes their goals, right? So it'll be a little bit different on what we're trying to do. Maybe we're trying to do more community events, maybe doing more client events and so forth. So and our team needs to get together to put together our admin team needs to get together to do that. You had mentioned something. I forgot. All right. So
I want to jump in real quick. We keep saying it, but when we're doing the tracking, we say conversations. Just so everybody knows, conversations to us is something that's 2 minutes or longer, and it involves actual real estate, right? So that's, I used to fool myself with, well, I talked to somebody for 30 seconds and they told me that they don't ever call me again. That wasn't a conversation. So when we're looking at this, we're tracking real conversations over 2 minutes that involve.
When he first joined the team, he was just calling me every day and saying, "Now look at all these conversations I've got."
Yeah.
I'm like,
We did have a question in there that I wanted to make sure we didn't miss with the Phelps team. So Shiloh does not track an incoming call to your personal cell phone. I do know that you're a team leader, and so what I would say is what your team is going to replicate what you do. So if you want these to be tracked through here, everything must be
boy coming in today.
Yes, we'll be here in a little bit. We got a hot mic on the call. So what I would say is, and remind me your name again, is it Brian Phelps? Go ahead and unmute.
Brett.
Brent. Nice to meet you, Brent.
Brett.
no end.
There's a lag over here.
That's all right, sorry.
The lag is my ears.
And so on Shiloh, it works with the CRM, and I got to see. Obviously, what CRM are you using?
Bold Trail.
Okay, and I don't think Bold doesn't record calls, does it?
They do, yeah. It does have a recording, but okay. So everything is ran through the CRM is what it comes down to, though.
And I will say that everything has to.
Yeah.
I mean, there's teams that are like, if you're not using the CRM, you're not on the team.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not that strict, but it has to happen through the CRM. And obviously, it's just getting in the habit. And some CRMs are better than others, but obviously, Bold, KB Core, whatever, they've got, you've got your own phone number within there. And so it's just a matter of making that your real business number, right? And now you'd have to check with Shiloh if they integrate with Bold. Unfortunately, Bold's somewhat of a closed system from my experience. And we used to use it, but that was our main CRM before we switched to Follow Up Boss.
Okay. And then account, I had a follow-up question on it, if you don't mind. So as leaders, what's your accountability that's in place in terms of making sure they do use the system rather than just picking up their cell phone and things like that to skew these numbers?
That's a great question. That's a great segue into batter. You want to jump into batter?
Well, I mean, first of all, I guess answer, what he's asking is what do we, I mean, when someone says they made a call on their cell phone, what's our response?
Go log it in the CRM.
Yeah.
Well,
If it didn't happen in the CRM, it didn't happen. And we just, it's like, I mean, you can log it in there, but now you're wasting time
Yeah.
because if you call or text to the CRM, the notes are there. If you go log a call or a text, you have to type the notes in. And it's like, hey, you want more time with your family? Be more efficient. And
And
so
now,
it's just required. I mean, but we'll jump, I'll let JJ jump into the other portion because obviously when we're dishing out leads and as a solo agent, if you're buying leads, you got to hold yourself accountable to the money you're spending, right? And if we call a lead and they don't answer the first time, and are we calling it twice or are we calling it 30 times? When a lead tells us they're maybe going to be retiring and buying in 2 years, are we ever calling that lead again? Or are we, what are we doing with it? And we know what 90% of the industry does. And we don't
Yeah.
want to be that because
Yeah.
it's such golden opportunity. 90% of the leads in our database is where the majority of the money is. It's not those hot leads that want to buy right now. Anybody can convert a hot lead. But can you convert a lead that's 2 years old or that's out 2 years? And so Batter, I'll let JJ or Jason kind of explain Batter, which is our accountability tool that is also kind of a sister company of Sisu. And it's because we're kind of ratcheting up the accountability, especially when it comes to the team leads that we're spending tens of thousands of dollars a month on.
Okay. Thanks.
absolutely. And so the accountability, those that lean into it are really going to win at a higher level. But there's three reasons why the accountability makes sense, right? And the importance behind it. So, Jason, do you remember that email that I sent you, or did you send me to spam on that?
Probably sent you to spam from most.
The three
20
reasons. The three reasons, and Jay can help me with the heavy lifting on it. Number one, they're cheating themselves and their own bank account and their families if they have, little ones at home or a wife or husband, whatever the case is. They're cheating their own bank account by not calling the leads. That's square one. If you're accepting a lead and taking it into your system and claiming it, and you're not calling it twice, leaving a voicemail and following up with a text message or updating the system correctly with the stages and the call cadence, then you're cheating yourself. You're cheating your own bank account. Number two, you're cheating your fellow teammates, right?
You're taking the food off the table of another agent.
You're taking that opportunity away from someone else that may have want to do that follow-up or that is going to work the lead properly. And then number three, you're taking away the opportunity. You're what?
You're taking away from the team. And what does the team provide? It provides to all of the agents, right? More events, more value, more whatever, right? And so when someone holds a lead, doesn't do anything with it, that's not only income for that person, the agent that could have done it, or income for the team that pours that money back into the team, right?
Yep. And so recap, number one, they're cheating themselves. Number two, they're cheating their team members and colleagues. And number three, they're taking away from the opportunity of the company to reinvest back into the team. And that's why we hold our team leads at such a high accountability. Jason will talk more about Batter and how we're holding those numbers accountable and what smart lists are being held accountable and what smart lists are ultimately as well. Just so we can go back to a little bit of 101. But I will say this before Jason, because I was just talking to Michael Archibald, a new agent on our team, and we got into the discussion about leads. And I think where I've wrapped my mind around over this last couple of years, over the last 2 years, is a good team will provide you leads. A great team will provide you with business opportunities. And the big difference between that is a good team will just give you a list of names and numbers and tell you, go call these people and try to convert it. A great team is going to give you the client acquisition roadmap to not only take the leads, but coach you on how to convert those leads and then give you a system to hold you accountable on the conversion of those leads through follow-up. So that's something that I've been seeing Jake and Jason and the rest of the crew, Renee here, really diving into is how can we continue to be more efficient with the money that we're spending Because if you have a database of 50,000 leads in there, yes, we're going to continue investing in more leads, but how can we extract from that database? How can we make more from what we already have and continue to grow with that? So Jason, talk to us about Batter and how that's helping us.
Yeah, so I'll just jump in with what you just said real quick. I actually like the leads that are 18, 24 months old. Those are leads that, based on you know, real estate, based on numbers, those are ones that are likely to convert, right? Those ones are likely to convert because it's 12 to 18, 24 months from when they first start looking to when they're going to convert. So don't be shy from calling those leads, right? So Batter, this is this is the one thing I love about the team that we have here is that it's truly a team, right? Everything we're doing, we're trying to look at how is it going to be better for the agents? How are we going to help the agents, right? So some of these systems we have in place, it's not because we want to like lay down the hammer or lay down the law. It's really how can we help these agents get to the next level? How can we help them succeed, not just in their business, but their personal life, their fitness, whatever it is that their goals are, we want to help them get there. And how do they get there? A lot of that has to do with wealth, right? How do we help them build that so they can start going after what they want? So with Batter, this system we have in Follow Up Boss, and it's probably in a lot of other CRMs, we have what are called smart lists that we go through each day. The four I'm going to focus on that we have is it's our smart list. That's anybody that has met with a client or spoke with a client. It's in that kind of stage in the smart list. Then we have what's called hot, warm, and cold smart list. The hot is somebody that you talk to that wants to buy within 0 to 3 months. The warm is somebody that you've spoken with that wants to buy in 3 to 6 months.
Or
And the
sell.
cold or sell. They want to transact in real estate. And then the cold is someone who wants to transact in real estate, 6 to 12 plus months out. So what happens is,
And
go
each
ahead.
of those, real quick, each of those have a different follow-up cadence, like how
Mhm.
often we're going to stay in touch with them. And so those smart lists basically make it extremely easy for the agent to just log in. It's time to follow up.
Mhm.
And if there's, and if there's a problem, they're like, oh, I shouldn't be calling them this soon. Well, then is it staged right? Is the time frame correct? Or do I just suck and I don't know how to provide value every time I call them?
Yeah, and
It's
and
okay to
it's
suck. I suck at a lot of things. I'm terrible at a lot of things. That's why I've got these professionals.
good. I didn't want to say it, Jake. I'm glad you said it. So, like Jake's saying, so the hot, it's going to prompt you to call them every 7 days. So it's taking the guessing work out of it, right? The cold is going to be every 14 days, and
40.
40. Cold is 40, and the warm is every 14 days. Okay, so you go into your system, they're going to prompt you. It's going to prompt you based on these lists when you should call them. So what we've implemented with Batter is it does an audit for us 4 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And if an agent with team leads only, not their sphere leads, if an agent is less than 75% on their smart list on keeping those up to date, they're going to be paused from any new leads that are coming in. So Batter's helping us with accountability to make sure that these agents are where they need to be. And it's helping us because, it's taking the guessing work out of us having to go into each individual agent and see where they're at. Now Batter supplies this to us. And guess what? Some of that falls on us as a team. Are we doing the right training? Are we having the right conversations? Do they know how to use the system? So it's really helping us keep the accountability for them and also us as a team.
Yeah, and it's only fair because when agents or any of us are not keeping up with the follow up, then we must be too busy, or as Joe would say, we ain't doing the work, right? And a lot of the times it's that, which is when we're self employed, it's how do we motivate ourselves? How do we do it? I go to the gym first thing in the morning, otherwise it ain't happening. And so it's just a matter of going through it. And there's some great, most CRMs have great automation to where you can schedule out text to go out. And in our smart list, when you make communication, when you make a call or send a text, it just automatically clears from that list and it'll just pop up in a week. If you happen to call that person 3 days later, well, it'll wait a week from then because it may be a client or someone that we're showing homes to and we're scheduling a showing or whatever. So now agents aren't getting too many leads that they can't keep up with. So that's Batter. Batter would be, I guess it'd be more for a team. You could probably use it for an individual agent, but really an individual agent, all they have to do is go look at their list and like, oh, there's a lot of people in there. I haven't been doing what I need to do.
Jake, so help me with this, because I know we have people at every stage in the journey. Some people who are just getting going, right? I'm excited if I can get to one a month, right? And we've got some people who are hitting 50, 100 transactions a year, and then people who are, have dreams or aspirations of achieving what you guys are doing. As they're adding systems, how do you avoid what I'm going to call systems bloat, right? Which is, I go buy every system on the market. Jake said these systems are incredible, but without implementation of those systems, really just what you have is a really big credit card bill every month, right? And so how do you avoid that? Internally, and if you were going all the way back to, I'm a solo producer, now I'm scaling up, how are you thinking about how to avoid systems bloat, and which one of these should they go after first, kind of a thing?
Yeah, and really, I mean, Batter and Shiloh are more. They don't even need to do anything really, other than the role playing in Shiloh. If they want to get better, if they don't want to get better, then when we have one-on-ones, it's like, okay, you're either not doing what you're supposed to, or like Joe would say, you're not good at what you're doing, and so why aren't you trying to get better? And so that's to just back up, when people join our team, a lot of times people are, or when they're getting into real estate, they want success. And so it's kind of like they're hiring us to make sure they're successful. And so we have to have those hard conversations. We have to have accountability. And I hope that most of our team members appreciate that, as long as we deliver it properly, which is why Jason and JJ and Renee are in the room, because I'm not a very good delivery person. But so
well, Jake, but hold on real quick, because I think you just said something there that's so important, which is this idea of them living to their potential, right? Because I don't care if you're the number one producer on the team. That's fantastic. Good for you. So does that mean you've capped out and you've now hit your ceiling and this is the best you're personally capable of and you'll never do any better? Right? And you've put systems in place that now allow people to not just compete with each other, but look, if you're hitting the pinnacle position in the team, good for you, but that's not pinnacle position based on what you're capable of. So let's focus on that now. And now you have systems that allow them to live into maybe a new reality.
Yeah, using leverage and so forth. And so really, I think back to your original question, where someone should start is they've got to have a CRM. If you're not, yeah. I mean, I would hope that most people are using a CRM on this call. If you're not, that's the first thing that has to happen. And you have to live with it. When you check your Facebook or your social media, or your text or your inbox, your email inbox, it has to be just as much with your CRM. It has to be used. And then there's multiple different kinds of CRMs. They're all fairly good. I've used a lot of them, probably a half a dozen different ones. I think Follow Up Boss is the Cadillac in the industry it's the money's made in the follow up, and that's the name of the company. It's just and what we wanted is as a team, we're trying to make it extremely easy for agents to succeed and do it efficiently. And so the tools we're using are to do that. So Batter is really for admin to hold people accountable. They don't have to do anything other than clear their smart list, or they'll have extra time to clear their smart list when leads aren't flowing in, right? And then Shiloh is really for us to, gamify and improve what we're doing in the same amount of time. So I think the CRM is important. If you want to get better, Shiloh, someone had asked how much Shiloh is. Obviously it's based on how many calls are being analyzed by AI and how many hours. And so we pay for 200 hours. It's a couple grand a month, but didn't take me about 15 minutes to commit to that. Obviously, everyone's at different levels, but I think for an individual agent, it's probably less than $100. I don't know. I think it's pretty cheap. And now you can invest in yourself for a pretty inexpensive amount and see if you're getting better. And it doesn't have to be just by buying leads and using leads. It can be with your sphere. I mean, at the end of the day, we have to have conversations with somebody, right? Are we having good conversations with our sphere of influence? And what's coming with Shiloh is they're going to be analyzing texts, emails, and in-person appointments, meaning you're going to have a recorder, or your phone's going to be the recorder. And now they're going to analyze all of those things. So that way we can truly, because one of our big initiatives this year is to really get our new agents launched, build the confidence in them to be able to have a conversation, how to set an appointment, and how to run an appointment. Because the quicker they do that, the quicker they're in production. And so that's our main focus, and that's what Shiloh is a big part of. So if you're a newer agent or wanting to do more transaction, it's a great tool. So CRM, Shiloh, I would say would be the top two. Matters more for an organization, I think.
And then CSU, right? CSU for transaction management, to make sure that you have, if you're working with a TC, even if you're not working with a TC, I think CSU is great. But if you're working with a TC, CSU makes the forms and fields super easy for your transaction coordinator to collect all the information and data and then get that out to the appropriate fields that they need to be in.
So Renee, you're awful quiet.
Yeah.
She uses CSU a lot on the administrative side. And though a CRM does a lot of things, there's some things it doesn't do. And we've been with CSU for a lot of years. Renee, kind of explain how you use or how our team uses CSU on more of the administrative side.
Yeah, so agents will request paperwork from me, listing paperwork. They'll upload their buyer rep agreements, and then we'll get them brokered for them. So it's a great tool for them to just fill out a one-page form, and then admin does everything for them on that side and saves them a lot of time.
What about tasks for like marketing, listings, transactions?
Yeah, so task on the admin side, that gives me a breakdown of everything I need to do for each transaction. So I go through and I'll check the box of everything that's done. They can see it on their side of what's been done and what still needs to be done.
If someone has a price reduction, an open house, or back on the market, does that create a new task?
Yeah, it's all tracked and set out for me to do, but then the agent can also see it.
And automated with the field. So when you change to a certain segment in CSU, then it launches all those tasks. So, and someone doesn't have to go manually input each of the tasks each time.
Yeah, each thing creates a task list, and then whoever's responsible for those tasks, one list may not be, one person may not be responsible for one task list. So like when there's an open house, Renee might do a couple things, marketing might do a couple things, and the agent, right? So that comes down to the systems. Obviously when you start doing higher production as a solo agent, or you're building a team or a brokerage, the systems are a necessity, right? And so even someone selling 20, 30, 40 homes a year really should be helping develop those systems. Whether they want to build a team or not, they're going to have something to do that. It's pretty difficult to sell 30, 40 homes all by yourself without any administrative help.
Yeah.
Just streamline the process.
Yep.
One thing I wanted to add into, Jeff, to your original question, to Jake, as far as like system overload or system blow or what to get first, or Jason and I actually had a discussion about this too, because we're trying to retire Jake. We're trying to get him out of the office
as soon as possible.
As soon as possible.
But for the wrong reason, I feel.
No. Reason doesn't matter. Reason doesn't matter.
And so something that I've been learning from him that I told Jason is like, man, we got to get on the forefront of learning and always be growing and looking for new systems. And Jake, what I've seen over working side by side with him over the last 2 years is his willingness to fail is higher than most. Like, he will jump into a system, analyze it. He doesn't just blindly create a new system, say we're going to run this. He'll do his due diligence on it. But he says, let's try it. We've tried AI systems with AI calling that we were in a year-long commitment, and it was a big bill. But hey, we thought that first AI system was going to work. It didn't work. And he said, okay, we got to get past it now. Let's go do 2 or 3 deals for our year commitment of what we spent on this. And it's just a drop in the bucket for where we're going. So he is willing to change.
Where do we learn the most? Failure or success?
Failure.
Don't cost so again, right?
It just costs a little bit more.
Yeah, the pain is a little bit higher. But the thing is, you guys, is he's willing to change in an industry that's forever going to change, and that's what he's teaching us as well. There's a guy in here that's related to Jake as well through family, is Ty Murdoch. He's like, man, I don't want to learn follow-up boss because I don't know how long we're going to be in follow-up boss. He's been with Jake since we were in Lion Desk. And what else did we have in there? Boomtown and
Real geeks,
or Real
Board, yeah,
Geeks.
all kinds of stuff.
We've gone through them, you guys, but we utilize the best of the best until something better comes along, and we dive in there 100% and we go all in, not lukewarm. But when we make a change, as we're doing with Shiloh now, we're going all in at the management level, at the Jake as the CEO level. And if we go all in and we believe in a system, then we're giving that confidence to the agents to go all in and go in on the system as well. So be willing to fail, do your due diligence with systems, grow slow, but once you do find something, don't just kind of use it. Like, make sure you're going all in on that. I mean, for like Shiloh, the first contest for the first week, Jake did $1,000 giveaway to whoever had the most 5-star conversations in the system. It was like, hey, I'm believing at the head of the mountain. I'm putting back into this company. And then now for every week over week until the end of the year, we're doing a $500 giveaway reward to the different contests that we're doing on this system, because we want 100% buy-in on the system. We don't want to just kind of use it. We want to make sure that we're utilizing it at the highest level.
And
That's
using
amazing.
it, yeah, and we're trying to get people to use the role playing and read the agent coaching at least, so they can see, okay, that was a 2-star call. What did I need to do to make a 3-star call? And so that way when they make their next call, they're thinking about that. And so that's that's the buy-in part. And then we're trying to elevate the entire team. And we're using some gamifying to it to really do it, because we know that if we do that, people are going to have a much higher chance of hitting their goals. We did skip one area on goals in CSU, and I want to show that, which is an important part. If you don't mind, unless you had something more, JJ, I was going to jump into that.
Nope. Let's go to it.
So in CSU, there's just an entire goal section, and we will do this for every agent that starts our team, and then every year we'll do it. And this is it's updated. This is just this is actually Jordan. He's our top agent at this point for the year. And what's interesting is when you look at some numbers. This is the whole team. That's like, here's when you look at just Rockwell agents, I thought there was another thing. These are calls, conversations. You briefly look at the names. And this is what I'm looking at, is who has the most conversations. And you look at the names at the top of this list. And then you go back and you look at the names at the top of this list on transactions for the year. It's the same people for the most part. There's a few outliers that are using their cell phones, or they're able to convert, differently through their sphere of influence, but it's a lot the same, and it correlates. I mean, when I look at all the people in their transactions, how many conversations it's taken, it's in that 35 to 50 range, right? And so it's really important to understand those numbers, because when we get to the goals, it tells us exactly what we have to do. And so this is the sheet, the dashboard or the calculator that we use. In this situation, it's pulling up Jordan's 2025 numbers. It has his average price point, gross agent paid income, where he's at with all this. And so what we would do is this is an updated system. It was older last time I used it, but they've made it easier. Now, I mean, because his stuff's in here, I can just say, hey, what do you want to do? You want to go 10% higher? You want to grow by 20%, 50%, or whatever? And I'm just growing this. But it already has his average price point, his average GCI. Percentage of business that expires versus close, the agent split, the team split. Some of this would change because he's kind of, he's at a 50-50 split. So this would be 50-50, and we would just put that in there. Maybe he wants to go to 200,000, right? We know his average price point. We're not going to mess with that. Or we can get conservative. Maybe he had a few high dollar transactions. Maybe we want to just, I'm a conservative. I like to be a little more conservative when it comes to numbers, and probably other things, but we'll leave that alone. Just kidding. And so we'll plug in these things, and then it gives us, convert conversations to appointment. He's at 17%. When you look at the team, it's like 6%.
Pretty good.
he has, he has a higher ratio. Alex on our team, I'm not sure if he's on the call. He's got a high conversion rate there too. So now I'm plugging in these numbers. I'm not going to change a whole lot, but I did change the gross income to the agent. And this is after splits, right? And after, maybe not after our low cap with our company, but now on a monthly and a yearly basis, it tells me where I need to focus. How many conversations? In fact, it seems like I have something wrong here because he's got to have more intimate conversations. I guess based on this conversion rate to appointment set. Buyer appointments, listing appointments, 2 appointments. What am I missing here? Gross,
4 million price point.
yeah, that might be a problem.
We're not in La Jolla over in San Diego, unfortunately.
Now okay. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. All right, so now we got the average price point. So now he needs to have 100 conversations a month, and it's like, okay, well, that doesn't seem too difficult. Well, when you look at our deal here, and you look at how many calls are being made or how many conversations, where's our conversations? Let's see. You look at how many conversations we've had 10,800 conversations this year. And when you divide that by 35, 40 agents and divide that by 9, 10 months, it's not as many as, I could go back like just last month and see what, Jason had 160 conversations, 140, 124, but look at how many people, it drops pretty quick. There's, top 20% doing, generally the 80%.
Hey, Jake.
So, yes.
For all of you guys as leaders, then, as you're thinking about this with agents, I've had these conversations before where it's like, let's set a goal, right? And if you leave that too open-ended, the agent's like, I want to sell 1 billion homes. It turns into something, at a $4 million price point, of course. And so how are you ratcheting down expectation without squashing momentum or enthusiasm, but also helping to do this like reality check as a leader, because that's part of your job, I would assume, right?
Yeah, we discuss sacrifice. Obviously, if someone wants to do 500,000 income or 100 homes a year, what are they going to sacrifice?
I like it.
What are they going to sacrifice if they want to do high production like that?
Family time.
Time. Yeah, because that's the one thing that we can't get any more of. And so they're either going to sacrifice time or maybe some money to apply leverage, or when they're on like a team, like our team, if someone's producing at that level, we're starting to invest in them and their leverage,
right? Or
they're leveraging other team members to help with showings or whatever, right? So, yeah, we get down to reality. It's like, so when Jason will meet with somebody, it's like, okay, how much time do you have to put into this business realistically? How much are you willing to show up? When you look at those top producers in our leaderboard that I just showed, those folks are in the office every morning until night. Yep. Every day they're in there. And I had a call with our chief learning officer. I think I told you that the other day of eXp, and he's like, well, what do you think the difference is between the people that are producing at a high level and those that aren't? And it's like, it's pretty simple. It's work ethic and how much time they're putting into work. It's not hard work, but you just have to treat it like a regular career, a job, and it's pretty rewarding when you do it at a high level, right? It produces a decent amount of income that can then go wake up, drink the coffee, and work for you, whether it's investing in stocks, real estate, or whatever. So,
Jake,
so yeah, we have that conversation. Go ahead, JJ.
To add to that as well, what I like to tell people in their first year, if they come in and they're just like guns blazing $250,000, I tell people, hey, most people will overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but underestimate what they'll do in 3 years. And so I will meet people where they're at and say $250,000 is achievable your first year. But just like Jake is saying, it's going to be time, and we will help keep you accountable to the activities that it takes to $250,000 a year kind of income. And the great thing about tracking and this whole entire context of this conversation, you guys, is we never want to be, as the Rockwell Group, as the team, as the organization here, we never want to be the reason someone fails. So With that being said, if they do the work, we want to provide the tools and resources available to them for them to succeed. But we also provide a mirror, a pretty damn big mirror for people to look at if they do fail. Because if they want to make $100,000 a year and then they come and sit down with Jason and Jason looks into their last 6 months and they've made 13 calls, sent out 100 emails and 25 texts, it's not us. It's not us. As much as we want everybody to win at the highest level possible, that's not going to get it done.
Yeah.
And people have to hold themselves accountable to what their realities are. But at the end of the day, like I said, this whole conversation is just a big mirror for people to look at. Okay, what have I done? And has that action been enough for me to reach my goals?
And it's amazing because what I noticed from all of you guys is it doesn't feel like a judgment. It's an observation, right? It's look, if you made 2 phone calls last year, you're not going to make $250,000 next year with the same behavior because that's crazy, right? But it's not a judgment. It's just an observation. It's like, I'm not going to play in the NFL. Why not? Because, well, 5'9", not big enough, you have no sports background, all sorts of things, but I'm not willing to do the things that would get me to that, right? I can't play golf the way Jake plays golf, right? Mediocre from what I've heard.
Yeah,
so
it's interesting, guys. My son came up to me last night and he's like, oh, help me delete these apps off of my phone because I find myself scrolling and distracting. And he's like, I'm in motivation mode now because his buddy's getting recruited to all these colleges for golf. And he actually just, beat that guy, in the last tournament. And I'm like, okay, so I had the conversation with him. I said, you know how you kind of go in and out of motivation, like you're gung ho, and then it fades, and then you kind of get back up. And I said, you want a tool on how to stay motivated? And I showed him the 2 books. It doesn't matter what book, but there's books. If you just read a chapter of this every morning, it'll kind of re-energize you because we have to find ways to stay motivated to keep the consistency because it's all in the consistency of it, right? So it was interesting. We'll see. So this morning when he got up, I was like, here's 2 chapters I want you to read out of the it's the Champion's Mindset. If you might type that in. I probably told a few people. Fantastic book. It's a great tabletop book. It's a great family book because what I love about it is the chapters are a page and a half, and that's kind of my style. But incredible messages that you can read with your team, read as a family. In fact, when we read it as a family, sometimes we have each other stand up and read it to each other because you're not 2 birds with one stone. We're now learning how to speak in front of people better or articulate better with what we're reading, and which is obviously more important for our son to learn. But anyway.
Is this the Champion's Mind, Jake?
Champion Mindset. You can, if you have a picture of it, I can show you, but I don't remember the author, but we bought a bunch for our team and gave them out, and it's a great book. A coach turned me on to it, and just a good motivator book to kind of get you going in the morning, and you don't have to read for an hour, right?
Perfect.
Yeah, I was gonna jump in real quick on the couple things that you said, Jeff. You can make it to the NFL, probably trumpet player at halftime, so don't give up on your goal. Okay. But one of the things would come over the Rockwell Group is it's really about, who you surround yourself with, right? You got to be surrounded with people who have goals as well to keep you going. But what I've been saying to myself a lot is success is simple, not easy, right? These things are simple, right? It's not easy. We got to keep ourselves on track. So with all of these systems that we have, what I found the most with this is it's really taking the guessing out of it. You're not guessing anymore what you have to do next. You're not guessing anymore where your next transaction is coming from. It's all there in front of you, And then to go back to what you said, Jeff, about how do you keep agents from, putting a huge goal out, really trying to go gung ho and everything else. I'm a little bit different. I'm just going to sit down with them and say, okay, if that's your goal based on industry standards and what we've seen in the past, let's break that down on what the activity needs to be for you to get there. And then they're gonna reel themselves in a little bit too and say, okay, now I see what it takes. And that's what I love about going over all these goals, because it's simple for anybody on this Zoom. if you want to know if you want to know how you're going to make the income you're going to put up for next year, just look at the numbers and say, what activity do I love to make calls. Okay. So, I know I have to make, not just 100 calls a day, but I have to contact 10 people. And out of those 10, I have to get this many appointments. Out of those appointments, I have to get this many closings. It's all right there in front of us. And when you have systems like this that track it for you, it takes the guessing game out if you're going to hit that income or not. You can just get in there and say, okay, where am I at for the year? Where am I at for the week? I really suggest that you look at it at the end of every day and say, where am I at for the day? Right? Because it really only takes 1 or 2 days of not doing that to where now you're playing catch up. And then what do? We disappoint ourselves first. You know what? I'm not going to go to the gym today because I'm tired. Or I'll make those calls up this time. We have to learn and reprogram ourselves to not disappoint ourselves.
Jason, I
We
love that. It's like you have to start with the right numbers, right? Like I see people say, I want freedom. And for them, that's kind of this infinite number of I want full freedom. And the problem is they'll start there, right? Like, here's my freedom. I'm not going to do anything today. I mean, you have freedom. That is freedom. Honestly, you could go be homeless and have complete freedom tomorrow. You don't have to pay any bills. You don't have to do anything. It's not the freedom that you were envisioning. It's a different form of freedom. You have to start at the other end of the scale to earn the freedom that you actually wanted, right? That's a freedom that's contingent on income converting to investments. That investment will convert to freedom over time through wealth. And I've heard you guys mention wealth. Do you coach on that as a team? Like on wealth creation, investing, whether it's real estate or so forth, or do you have private conversations around it with
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it in our meetings and conversations and with one-on-ones when someone wants to, like I had a one-on-one or a call from one of our agents that needed some advice on real estate investing, and I'm kind of been one of the go-to people on the team because I have a lot of experience with it and helping them either with their own investing or helping them with their clients that are investing. And so big believer, obviously, in building wealth, and a lot of it is we're in the real estate business. That's what we know. I suck at stocks, but I'm good at real estate, and so that's kind of where my bucket is. But so yeah, we talk about it, and we do some trainings revolving around how to analyze investment properties and that type of thing. But real quick, I'm just going to briefly share this again. So just so kind of back up what Jason was saying. So we're looking at the number of conversations, the number of appointments, the signed, the whole flow, the whole pipeline, right? And so when we plug that in before I forget, if anybody wants copies of that 135 business plan, it also comes with a 3-page instructions on how to build it and gives you examples. If anybody ever wants that, you can put my email in the or put JJ's or someone, or Renee's email in there, and she'll send that to you. So just send it to her or send an email to her, and she'll get to that. And if CSU, again, if you're with eXp, you get CSU. If you're not, if you want it, it's pretty inexpensive on a per agent basis. But take a look at it. You can do a lot of the same thing. You could just if you wanted to, you could probably just program a couple of these numbers and throw them into Grok or ChatGPT, and it'll spit out all of this for you on an industry standard, right? So, but you have to start with that, right? You got to have the goals that break down the activities, and then you're just focusing on those activities on a weekly and monthly basis, like Jason was saying.
So talk to me really quickly. Because this is, I know, kind of maybe zoomed out here, but what's the next goal, the big goal for the Rockwell Group? Where do you guys want to go? And assuming that there's someone on this call maybe where they're like, I'd like to have a chat with these guys and like learn about what this is all heading toward. And by the way, whether you're with the company or not with the company, what does that look like? What do you guys want to do?
Well, I can tell you what I'm sick and tired of.
Sure.
I'm sick and tired of 400 to 500 transactions a year. And it doesn't matter what transactions we're at, but if we've been the same for 2 or 3 years, I hate that. That sucks because when we're not growing, we're failing. And so we finally realized that there's only one thing that'll fix that. I mean, we can do as much of this stuff as we can to help each agent do more production. And yes, that moves the needle a little bit. But JJ, What do we got to do?
So you guys asked Jake what he was thinking about at 5 a.m. this morning when he was firing off emails to
I
us.
scheduled it for 5. It was actually 3:30. Um,
Agent count, you guys, agent count, always, always, always. And then you'll always continue getting 80-20. So for us to 20% of the agents doing a bulk of the business, right? So if we get to 80 agents, we're at 40 right now. We've been floating between 40 to 50 over the last 2 years, net agent count. And so if we can get to 80, that doubles our business.
Of course.
It's as that.
What's the perfect avatar? Like somebody's looking at this and they're like, I've been a solo producer. Maybe this is the right environment for me. What's the right mindset, or what's the avatar for that?
I do want to say this because I know that a lot of people here are with our company. We do not care about the initial sponsorship. So if you have wanted to get into attraction within our company and you want to be their main sponsor, their sponsor, and sponsor people into this company, and you think that they would be a great fit for our team, or even just a conversation with us, reach out to me, reach out to Renee, reach out to Jason, and we will have a conversation with that person, and you will be their sponsor into the company. And it's a win-win for everyone. It helps our team grow, which allows us more market share within the areas, all the state of Oregon, and some place. And I don't know if we have any Arizona folks in here, but in Arizona as well, the greater Phoenix area. And then it helps you because eXp growth doesn't work at agent attraction, revenue share. None of that works if people aren't doing deals, right? So if you can get if you can get the person you attracted to this company doing deals with a team of our caliber of what we're doing, then in turn you're going to win as well, because then you're going to collect rev share. So
let's pull up the agent attraction thing and let's go through it. No, I'm just kidding.
I know, right? Start jumping right now.
Well, and I think that yeah. So go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So all I'm saying is that we're an open book, an open team for anybody that wants to inquire to work with us, and we are going to always meet people where they're at. So it doesn't matter if they want to do 1 or 2 deals, because that 1 or 2 deal person has turned into someone that's done 30 deals with us.
Totally. What are the locations right now?
So we're all up and down I-5 in Oregon, from Southern Oregon to Portland, and then Phoenix, Scottsdale area. But I want to answer your question on the avatar. When we look at like what the past looks like, it's going to be a lot more newer agents is what we've attracted. We've had several, which are fun because, one, they're coachable, they're excited, and when you look at some of our leaderboards right now, the new agents are on the top of that with activities. And then you're going to eventually see them on the top of the leaderboard in success. And when you look at our top of our leaderboard, Sterling and Jordan's been with us for a few years. Sterling's been with us for a year and a half. And I mean, it's really exciting to see those folks win, but they're all in, right? And some of them are quitting careers to get into real estate, and they're going all in. So more newer agents. And really, it comes down to who has that energy, who has that motivation. But there's a lot of agents out there that are year, 2 year, 3 years in, and they're stuck at 8 to 15 transactions a year, and they want to go bigger. And I absolutely believe when you have a team, there is an opportunity for an agent to put more money in their pocket with a team when they leverage the team properly. Some people want to be in the position that maybe we're in, and they want to have their own team, and that's fantastic. We'll help those people too. It's not for everybody, obviously, but and so the main avatar has been newer agents, but we'll help anybody that wants to be a part of what we're about, right? And so
that's awesome. So definitely looking for new people. So, and I love that perspective, JJ, that you were mentioning about being willing to help anybody and being pretty holistic in your approach to revenue share. You see some people who are a little bit conquistador style on that, and I appreciate that you guys are very win-win. It's like, let's just do what's best for everybody, and there will be plenty for everyone to have in the long run.
And I do want to make it clear that regardless of being on our team, anybody that's on this call or anybody that you know, I'm open to helping anybody regardless of what you just you stay at whatever company you want to be in. That doesn't matter. It's more I love this part of it. I love sharing and helping others. And when more people win, everybody wins, right? So
Love it.
So one other thing I want to say for the purposes of the replay on this as well, because I know you guys will have it out there. There's tiers to it all as well. So Jason Giles actually brought his entire team over to join us with the Rockwell Group as well, because he saw what he was doing as a team leader, and he's like, man, I'll let him explain the story a little bit more on why his mindset was with that. So there's a different tier also as far as team leaders out there. If you're just kind of stuck in that zone of, hey, I'm tired of doing it all and I want to be a team leader within a team as well, we have a certain model that can be attractive to team leaders to have a conversation with us as well. And if you want to jump on a call with us, just email me, jj@rockwellrealestate.com, and we can discuss what that looks like. But Jason, what kind of intrigued you to step into that path?
It's funny because I was going to share that anyways. So, kind of going back to the beginning of this conversation when you asked, what should people start with first, right? And here's what I learned is I learned that I started a lot of things very premature, right? I want to try to build a team. I want to try to get this. I want to try to get that. And we did okay for a while. The team, I think we had 6 agents at one point, and we were doing okay, but the market was shifting. The cost was going up for everything. The consistency of income just wasn't there anymore. And, I'd already met with Jake before just on, at different events and being here in the community. And I said, I looked at everything they had. JJ and I, we were doing recruiting calls at 6 a.m. because, we get up early and we had already built that relationship. And one day I just jokingly said to JJ, because I seen the writing on the wall with what was happening with the cost of leads, with the training, I didn't have the right resources for a team, right? I had to really take a good look at the mirror and say, this isn't where I should be right now, right? I need the right guidance. And I told JJ on a phone call one morning, I was like, hey, what does that look like to bring my team over? Next thing you know, I'm on a Zoom, which, by the way, guys, I do Zooms probably 16 hours a day now, but that's all right. But next thing I know, I'm on a Zoom and we're having a conversation. We're bringing the team over, and it has been life-changing for me. The consistency on what's happening. I'm embracing all of these new systems. And, if you're green, you're growing. If you're ripe, you're rotten. So whether you're a new agent or seasoned agent, if you're looking for that next step, or just if you know somebody who is, if you come in and just embrace it, the tools and the systems are there. So, that's what made me do it. I seen the writing on the wall. I knew that I didn't have what it took, let's just be honest, to run the team. And I got with Jake and JJ. And I mean, the growth I've just had personally since then has been huge. So that's it.
Nice. That's another fine paid testimonial from Jay.
Yeah, my Venmo is
cards in the mail.
The one thing I'll say, I know, and I know Jason very, very well now over those 16-hour Zooms that we have and eating dinner over Zoom now. But when he says he didn't have what it takes, I don't believe that. I believe he just he put himself in a situation with the leverage to help him go farther than what he was currently at in that situation or time frame in life. So when you say, Jason, I didn't have what it take, I think all you did is you pivoted to a leverage point to help you go further within where you were.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. To clarify that, was a work ethic there? Yeah. What was all of that there to do it? 100%, right? But I didn't have what it took to supply and support the team the way I wanted to, and that came down financially. That's really what it was.
And a lot of that can be because a lot of teams they build prematurely, and they don't have the volume themselves necessarily. And I'm not saying that's the case, but I know when I started, it was a lot of volume, a lot of hours, and I wasn't going to do it. So I had to bring one person on, and it just kind of built that way. But a lot of teams nowadays are building without having the systems, the training, all the spokes to the team wheel, which it's support, training, opportunities. I like opportunities instead of leads personally. And then there's the culture that glues it all together, right? And so it's we've got to make sure that the people that are joining our teams or joining your team have the right opportunity to succeed. And sometimes it takes finance, it takes money to do that. And obviously when you build, I'm not keeping all the money and going buying the cars or anything. I'm pouring it back in for these systems so that we can continue to provide more value to the team. So as a solo agent, same thing. When you get, your first hire should be administration, right? Someone that's going to take the paperwork off your plate so that you can have more conversations. And then, my background, this is progress, not perfection. A lot of us try to perfect things, our posts, our stuff. It's just, how do we make one step forward? How do we put one foot step, and just make progress each and every day? And that's a big thing in our culture.
I love that, Jake. My dad used to say, better is better. And I've never forgotten that. It's like, it's just so easy to lose track of that and this endless quest for the perfect thing, which doesn't exist. It's so self-defeating and exhausting. Okay, let's do a quick round robin. Jason, we'll start with you and then we'll go JJ, Renee, and we'll finish up with Jake. What is like one key takeaway someone could walk away from this call that you'd love for them to remember is just going to impact their life and help them maybe have a better day, week, year, whatever that looks like? Jason, you're up.
One thing that I would take away from this is sit down today and see where you're truly at with your numbers and your activities.
That's awesome.
I mean, you got to know those 100%.
Yeah, it's that mirror, it's that reality check, right? That's great. I love it. JJ, what about you? What's your one key takeaway that if somebody's going to take one thing?
Yeah, I would say accountability is not a punishment. It's a reward to your future self.
Ooh. All right, I don't need to build on that. All right, Renee, you're up. Good luck, Renee.
Yeah, going into 2026, set your goals, look at your conversions, and have fun with it.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's beautiful. We're hearing a trend here. That's awesome. All right, Jake, wrap us up and we'll music this bad boy out of here.
Success doesn't sleep in. Get your ass out of bed.
Ooh. All right, everyone. There you go.
Right.
You heard it here first. Get your ass out of bed.
Now back to Renee. I mean, you gotta prepare, and make sure you're preparing for your next day and so forth. So anyway, it's been awesome to be able to share, and as I mentioned many times, reach out if I can help anybody in any way.
Perfect. We'll put all of your contact info with the recording, and we'll have that out shortly. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.